Okay, welcome everyone. It's Chris Kobe again. Another beautiful day in Undead Nation, living amongst these zombies. In this video, I am going to demonstrate how I do urban warfare. I am in Gold 1. You see my ranking up here. That represents the ranking you're in. This right here shows you how everybody's doing, the number of buildings each player owns, how many victories they have. That just means how many times they've attacked either a building or a post. And it also shows you the rewards if you end up being in first place, what it's going to give you. It's not like a full beginner tutorial, but more like an intermediate tutorial where I show like a little bit more advanced strategies. I'm just giving that brief explanation for those of you that have never seen this. Let's also post my channel really quick on the game board.
We're watching.
I had made another video, but I cut off the bottom so you couldn't see the characters that I was using. So that's why I didn't post the previous one, but this one we got it all figured out. Let me adjust the camera a little bit right there so I'm always more in the center. So the way I like to organize my characters is I like to spread them out kind of evenly, where I do not, and I want to clarify that, I do not put my best characters in one car. Like I said, I spread out my best characters throughout all my cars. Now I have 6 cars altogether, right? But 4 cars, which is my Alpha, my Bravo, let's heal them while we're here, my Charlie, and my Delta, I'm very confident that they can beat like buildings all the way up to about level 35 to 36, somewhere around there, right? So I'll always constantly keep using those. My Echo, it can beat probably buildings up to like level about 33. And my Foxtrot, I have almost no faith in my Foxtrot because it's sometimes failed even buildings that are the easiest. And it won't get past them. So I'd like to name the buildings in a certain way that way everybody knows what I'm referring to every time we go into each building, or if I'm talking about another building while I'm in like a taking down a post or taking down a building, then you guys know what I'm referring to. I think this one has the best example of all of them. Just about, yep. So in this instance, we have the 4, 2. It's simple. It gives you 4 gear of one type of gear, and then 2 of another type of gear. Then we have the 3-1. We have the 2-1. That was the 3-1 as well. 2-1, and then there's some of them that just give you 1 gear. So if you hear me referring to as I was taking down a building of 4-2, and my Foxtrot car couldn't take it down, then you know I'm referring to one of the toughest buildings. Now, if you see here as well, it has the level of the zombies and the amount of zombies as well. So if you see here, this is a 4-2. It has, and each time a building is defeated, the level increases. So if you see this little +4, that means this building has already been defeated 4 times. I currently control it, so I can't attack it. I need to wait for this character right here. His name is Meanwhile. Thank you, Meanwhile, for being my neighbor. He needs to be able to take that building down before I can take it again. And when he takes it down, it'll go another level. There's a small timer, as you guys will see once I'm done taking over one of these buildings. There's a small timer before anybody can attack it. Now, certain people have said that the timer is relating to how far your car has to travel back to your base. For example, if your car has to travel about 20 minutes back to your base, this timer would be about like 10 minutes. It's not necessarily half. I haven't quite calculated what exactly that is, but since my base is here and I start attacking buildings and posts that are all the way over here, it'll take about an hour for my cars to get all the way here, and the shield that'll be in the buildings that I attack over here in the post will be about like 20-25 minutes. So like I said, 20 and 25 minutes is not half of 1 hour. So that's why I said it's not exactly just half. So keep that in mind when you're playing these. If it's getting towards the end of an urban warfare and you want to use that to your advantage, like say there's 10 minutes left and you want to take over a post, where it'll give you that shield that will take about just all those 10 minutes. And if you have characters in them, usually it takes at least a couple minutes for a player to go through a post, or through a post once it has characters in them. Then that person won't be able to take down that post in time before the urban warfare ends. Like I said, it's more a little bit more advanced strategies that we're talking about here, but you can use that strategy to your advantage to guarantee that you're going to take that post and nobody's ever going to be able to take it back, before the urban warfare ends. Like I said, once there's like about 10 minutes left. I like to explain and repeat myself in a couple different ways, so if it's not making sense to somebody in one particular way, maybe it'll make sense to them in another different way. So I like to, for obvious reasons, use my weakest car to take down a post. That way, I'm leaving my better cars to take down the buildings that are a little bit harder, right? On top of that, since the characters are weaker, that means they're going to have a harder time killing the zombies. And if they have a harder time killing the zombies are going to do more damage to them. So then you're going to use up more meds. So that's why I use my weakest card to take down the post. So not only am I guaranteeing that I'll actually be able to take down the buildings and get the loot from it, but I'm also not spending as much meds. So now we'll get into actually defeating one of these 4-2 buildings. As you see here, they give you the resources, they give you the construction buildings. I've upgraded this post and put survivors in them, just so when this person comes back, if they ever do come back, this is guarded right here, and this guards all the way into here. Now, if I eventually later down the road want to defend this area right here, the reason I didn't defend this area is because this person is actually being very active and they're actually pushing my post back, which allows me then to farm them again. As you see, he took over these down here. I didn't want to push all the way down there, and then he eventually had to leave, but he only took my post down and didn't end up taking a building down here either. The reason I guarded this post is that way I at least have one of my sides covered, and since this person's not being very active at all, it doesn't matter if I leave this post open, they're never going to take it back. So I might as well start gathering the resources for right now, and that's why I leveled it all the way up to level 10. And since I already leveled it up all the way to level 10 to gather the resources of the food and the construction materials that it's giving me, then I might as well put characters already in there as well. Um, if both my neighbors are being kind of active, and then if they're in the same like level that I won't put people in them. A lot of times people will put characters in your post just to try to secure that post, and it's one of these that you have to balance out which one is worth more for you to do. Do you put characters in the post that defend right next to their base so you can keep gathering the resources, or do you let them take it back, and if they put characters in your base, as I was just saying, then they have a better chance of defending it because they get the level bonus from the post once they've upgraded them. Now it becomes very difficult if, for example, my base is level 8. The max that my characters can be is level 23. Say this person was a level 10, even though they're level 9, just for example, let's just say they were a level 10. They could have characters all the way up to level 30. Now with the extra 4 level bonus, they would have characters up to level 34. Like I said before, the max level that I can have is level 23. That's an 11 level difference. That's going to be kind of hard to take down. So you want to get the best advantage that you can by putting your characters in here. And even though I'm at 23 with the 4 level bonus, now it's at 27. And even though, like I said before, if he was at level 10 and he had characters at level 30, well, at least you're giving yourself a chance, a better chance, that he won't be able to take down your post because it's a 3 level difference that he has to, that he still has advantage over you. But if you don't upgrade your post at all and you just try to defend this without being able to upgrade it, then the level advantage that he's going to have is going to be 7 because your units are going to be at level 23, right? So you want to give yourself the best advantage of being able to take that. Now, if you feel like very confident that you're skilled enough, and say now this character was a level 8 character or person, not character, sorry, like in the actual player controlling the characters, then I wouldn't even put ever people here. I would upgrade this over here and gather my resources from over here because I would be completely confident that even if he put his best characters in here, which would be level 23s and plus the 4 level bonus, it would be 27. I'm not scared to take down a post that has characters at level 27. Now, since we're actually going to put the scenario of what this actually is. He's actually a level 9. His max characters are going to be level 27. With the 4 level bonus, that's 31. I have level 23s. That's an 8 level difference. That's where I'm not too sure of whether I want to take that challenge or not, because what if he has level 27s, which becomes 31, and he has a whole bunch of upgrades and ascensions on them. Then it gets like even trickier for me to take them down, right? It's now not only is it the 8 level difference, but now he has better upgrades and better ascensions than me. So that's why I ended up taking this post in this particular example. In this particular instance, since my characters are level 23 from the level cap, plus the 4 level bonus, they're going to be up to 27. That's where he can be at. So now it's actually an even match, and now it gives me the better chance of actually holding this post, and eventually, to, I'll be able to take this post as well, if this character or this player, sorry, doesn't lock me in. So far, like I said, he's pushed me in, and he hasn't put people up there, just because he, I think, understands the benefit of leaving post unmanned, um, with somebody who's being active, because then we can constantly keep pushing these back and forward, and we can constantly farm each other's backyard. Now, there's other people that would argue that that's not the best strategy, because you don't know if this person's going to act that way or not. But a lot of the times, people, even the first time they take this post, they'll level this up to like level 5, and they'll start putting people in it right away. That's not very wise to do, because since you're not upgrading this post to a lot, he's not getting a much of a level bonus, therefore making it easier for me to take it down. But if he does that, he shows his intentions that he's actually going to want to block this, then I might want to block this instant. It's all you're all Every decision that you take in urban warfare is relating to the action that most importantly, your neighbors are taking against you. This urban warfare is rather easy for me, because this person's not taking much action. This person's actually agreeing to farm back and forth with me without locking our backsides, without putting characters in our post. That's why this is like very beneficial for me, because one side I can continue to farming, and then the other side I can lock up, right? So I know I explained quite a bit, but it all makes sense once you actually guys start playing your urban warfares, and see how your neighbors interact with you. Now let's actually go into each one of the buildings and explaining how I've spread out my better cars. Like I said, I still have quite a bit of faith in Echo. The level of this building was level 28. So like I said, Echo can take about up to like 32, 33. So Echo should be able to take this fairly easy. Now the strategy that I've gone for here is Amanda blocks melee attacks from zombies as well. So like every other hit, she's blocking it, and she's doing a lot more damage to them. Soldier 85 has a healing mechanism that after he takes in certain amount of damage, or after he does certain amount of attacks, or a certain amount of time, I'm not exactly sure, I haven't done the full study on how that is, but he starts healing himself. So that's why I didn't put a very strong Soldier 88. You see, she's only level 20 with 3 ascensions. I put my best healer in Delta. She's 4 stars with 1 ascension and level 23, because Wilma's not the greatest tank. Wilma doesn't have any damage reductions. None of her upgrades give her extra HP. While she does have naturally high HP just from being a tank, she doesn't get any benefits from all her upgrades to be a little bit more tankier. You know, compared to like Hank, who gets 20 damage reduction, he would probably be a better tank than her. But she fits this particular style a little bit better than that. But going a little bit more on the point that I was saying, I try to even out my healers as they're kind of needed in each car. In Delta, since like I said before, Wilma's not the best tank, that's why I put my best healer with Wilma. In Echo, both Amanda and Soldier 85 have their own kind of like their own defensive mechanisms that allow them to stay alive longer. Like I said, Amanda counters melee, and then Soldier 85 heals himself over time. I put both 2 pyros in here just to give me better AoE. I like to have a Connie just about in each card that I have to reduce the damage. Once it starts getting to the later levels, Connie becomes like the MVP of every card, just because she allows your front line to actually be able to survive, and allows your back line therefore then to constantly keep doing damage. I just put Sharon as a single DPS, and Brock is one of probably the last few people as well that I spawn in this car in case I'm needing that little extra push. Every car of mine has a Judy just to paralyze the convicts, because the convicts, every time they attack, they heal some of the HP, and then they're also very tanky. So Let's go into this. I'll wait for the full 15 battle points. I spawn Amanda first. The reason I spawn Amanda first is because 85, if you see the little swirling thing around, gets a little bit of a bonus when he spawns that he does extra damage. So if I spawned 85 first and he's wasting a little bonus opening the door, then I'm not getting the max benefit out of him, right? I'm letting my energy charge up, or my battle points, sorry, charge up a little bit because I want to see what the next room is like. If the next room had a convict, then I would have spawned Judy and someone else. But since it doesn't, then I am going to spawn both my pyros just to be able to get through this a little bit quicker. Now the tricky part about this is when the buildings are lower in level, you have to try to calculate as much as you want how how many meds are you going to be able to spend. Now I say as much as you want because you could literally spawn all your characters, but then you'll be also spending more meds since you spawn those characters. Even if that character takes no damage, they're they're going to need meds at the end of the match. The other thing about it is it makes harder for your healer to constantly be healing all these characters if you end up counting a couple spitters, and now say I spawn Judy and Judy ends up taking a little bit of damage, then the healer is going to be spawning Judy rather than always constantly keep healing my Amanda. Sorry if I said anything else, but I meant healing. See, like Amanda's starting to get pretty low. This is when I'll start using my tactics. I can even start using my tactics from before. I use my sack of zombies to help tank for Amanda because since your zombies are at the front, they start taking the damage rather than Amanda. See, now Amanda starts having more and more HP because the zombies were like tanking for her. They were literally taking the hits rather than her. Now, the reason I wasn't using the tactics earlier is because I was busy kind of talking. You can start using the tactics as soon as you come to the conclusion of how many survivors you're going to use. Sometimes I'll make the split second decision again. It's just the constant feedback of how the building is going. If you're having no problems defeating the buildings, then then you don't need to spawn any characters. But there's sometimes when I've noticed that I'm taking a little bit too much time in defeating the building, then I'll spawn an extra DPS character to help me get through the building a little bit quicker, and then it actually guarantees that I will complete that building and not fail it, right? So this one was 28 before we got into it. It only had a +2 here. Now that I defeated, like I said before, it goes to +3. This one starts getting a little bit harder because this one's already all the way up to level 30. So now that's why I left my best cars for this particular building. Let's go into it, and I'll explain how I use my next car. Now, I know everybody doesn't have the same characters as I do, but at least it's giving you ideas on how maybe if you get this same amount of characters, even if you're at a lower level, you can use these characters as because the reason I put these characters together is they kind of go well with each other. I put Wilma because she stuns. Then I also put a Spiky because he does more damage. He does like a special attack if the enemy in front of him is stunned. I also put Pyro along with Wilma because Pyro takes a little bit of time to ramp up his damage. So with Wilma stunning the zombies, Pyro then that buys the time for Pyro to be able to build that damage. I also put a Corvette in here because Corvette also needs time to like sit down, take the M, and then actually take the shot. So again, Wilma buys all that time. I still put an extra Judy in here in case we run into the convicts. That way the convicts stays paralyzed more often because if Wilma paralyzes them, she only paralyzes them, sorry, for a certain amount of time. And by the time the convict is done being paralyzed, he'll take a swing at you and recover some of his HP before Wilma can get the next attack and paralyze him again. Essentially, she can't. Hey, Tricone, welcome. Welcome to the stream. I'm just explaining how this kind of works. Like I said before, I put Soldier 88 because she's the best healer. Soldier. Lucy, stop. Sorry, guys, I had to tell my dog to stop because she's barking at the mailman. Yeah. So that's kind of like the combo. Astrid is good. Uh, Astrid is good with Wilma because she lays fire on the ground, and it takes time for the zombies to take more and more damage from her when she leaves the fire on the ground. So again, most of these characters just combo really well with Woman. That's why I've put them in a car altogether with her. Spiky also really helps against the convicts because he he like, I like to say, like nukes them, which is just like straight does a lot of damage to them. He's more single target, single burst. Now again, I'm letting my battle points build up a little bit just to see what these rooms are like. Since that room was fairly easy, then I didn't need to spawn a character. Now that I see there's a group of zombies, I spawn my pyro. If I would have seen there was a convict, I would have spawned both Spiky and Judy. If you saw that when I used the pyro, my battle points went down all the way to 6. If I would have spawned Spiky and Judy without seeing that room, then I wouldn't have had enough battle points to be able to spawn the actual characters that I needed. Um, Pyro, I think, is one of the best characters altogether in in the urban warfares to just defeat all the buildings. The reason for it is he does a very good splash damage, and then once his attack is actually ramped up, he start doing very good single target damage. So that's why that convict went down very quick, because I have both my Spiky that does a lot of burst, and then my convict that once he builds up a little bit, he starts doing even more and more damage. Now here's where I start looking how much time I have left. I have about a minute and a half remaining, and I still have this level to complete and then the next one. So I'll spawn my character 38 just to help me get through the level a little bit quicker, and actually guarantee that I will beat this level. We'll start using my tactics here as well. I always like to virus the convict because it just kills him like instantly, and since he's so difficult to kill sometimes, it saves me up on time. Now if you saw, the crawler guy always drops on your back line. There's a couple things that you can do and use your tactics to go up against them. You can either drop your sack of zombies and he'll attack the zombies that come out of the sack, or you can paralyze him right as soon as he drops, which is what I did in that particular instance. Once I play another building, I will I'll drop the sack of zombies so you guys can see how the crawlers go and attack the zombies that are there. I'm gonna keep posting this here every time. It's about 5 minutes between. I always like to hit those little things. Now, the thing that I personally like to do is I like to be friendly with the other people in the urban warfare. So I only took the 2 highest buildings. These are still open in case this character wants to take these other ones here. So I won't man this because then it makes him waste the car. I would rather even use one of my cars, take down another post, and now open up more buildings that give me the 4 and 2 type of gear. Because now people may argue, well, that's not really productive. Actually, it is more productive to do it this way, because now that I opened up this building and that building that give me 4 and 2, I'm getting more resources than if I would have just attacked this one. Now that car, I would have regardless had to spend it to take down the post. So I might as well take down the post and then attack both the buildings that give me the most loot, rather than wasting the car here on a building that's going to give me less loot. Now later towards the urban warfare, if this urban warfare continues to be very active and these buildings get too high of a level, like once they start getting close to 40, even my better cars can't take this building down, then I might take down the easier buildings. Because if you noticed here, this building that has 3 and 1 also starts at level 25. This building that has 4 and 2 starts at level 26. This building that has 4 and 2 starts at level 27. So, and on top of that, this one that's at 27 has 55 zombies. This one's at 26, has 57 zombies, and this one has 43. So overall, the one that gives you less gear is gonna be easier. So like I said earlier, once the urban warfare starts getting later and later, and if it's being very active, and these harder buildings get up to all the way close to 40 where I can no longer defeat them, then I will obviously start taking whatever resources I can get and defeating the easier buildings. So for now, let's go on to this next one. I didn't explain what my Charlie is, but my Charlie I like to call an Emma car. And Emma is a character that the longer she attacks, the more she upgrades her weapon. She starts just with a single target rifle, and then she upgrades to a shotgun, and then a grenade launcher, and then like a super grenade launcher. So she essentially starts like just doing a little bit of damage to one single zombie. Then she upgrades it where she starts doing, with the shotgun, she starts spreading out the damage a little bit more because it hits an AoE. Uh, it hits with an AoE round, so it hits multiple zombies and not just one anymore. And then once the grenade launcher comes in, it's like the shotgun but better because it still does the AoE. It's a little bit larger, the AoE effect, so it hits more zombies and it does more damage to them. And then the super upgraded grenade launcher does a whole ton of more damage, even more than just a regular grenade launcher. And I think the radius is a little bit wider as well. I haven't done the complete research on it, but from the observations that I made, I can pretty much confirm that's the case. Now, I have a Julia on here. She's the lady with the helmet and the machine gun. The reason I have her here is to give Emma enough time to actually ramp up. I have Emma because she's fairly cheap as a tank. And with a uh, with an Emma car, I want to put enough characters that help protect Emma. Connie helps protect it from the damage reduction. Victor helps protect the Emma by pushing back the guys who are the crawlers. We always have our Judy for the paralyzing the convex. We have my most powerful Corvette that I own, which is a 5 stars, 3 ascension, level 23. Because even though Emma does a ton of damage with her grenade launcher, if I encounter a convict early, I need to spawn Corvette to be able to kill that convict quickly, or otherwise, Emma does very little damage just with her first stage of her upgrades. That she'll take forever to kill that convict and won't end up actually um, defeating the building at that point. And the two last characters is another tank. He's he's a 17, the HVRA soldier that's a tank. I just have him in case later in the rounds again, since they start getting a little bit stronger, they actually will defeat my Claudia, so I need a backup tank. And the same goes with the 85 that I have there. He's just kind of a little bit extra DPS, just overall around a good character, just to round out that car. I had 4 battle points, so, and I really didn't like need any particular character for it, so I was like, let me just put an 85 in there just to help out that car a little bit more. Which I might end up switching that up. That car, even though it's my Charlie, I actually trust that car a little bit more than my Bravo. It's has ended up being a little bit better than that one. So there's not much actually like a lot of strategy to this car. Is just kind of putting my 47, and she pretty much carries this entire car by herself because she's at 4 stars, level 23, 3 ascensions. She does a ton of DPS, and even with her grenade, she does a lot of AOE. As you saw, there was like 3 or 4 zombies grouped up there, and with her little grenade, she just took them all down. If we start encountering a whole bunch of crowd of zombies, then I will spawn one of my 38s and have the 38 help the 47 take down more. If I encounter convicts, then I will spawn a J. Right now, I'm not really encountering them. Well, I encountered one, but like I said, 47 can take down the first one fairly easy. But if more and more start coming, that's when I'll need more and more. Now, if you guys noticed, I used the Zack of Zombies. I was trying to get both dogs to run into the Zack of Zombies, so that way the dogs explode on the friendly zombies and not my own characters as well. That's usually how I like to put the stun. I like to wait for the zombie lady that launches at your characters until she's actually like in midair. It takes a little bit of skill to actually time it properly. But the reason I wait for that proper timing is if I catch her in midair, then she won't actually hit my characters or my frontline character. Um, and she'll stand right in front of all my other units, and then she'll take actual AOE from 47 with her grenades and my 38 with his shotgun. Now I didn't have the reflexes there. I was still kind of focusing on what I was saying before, so I didn't use my grenade in time when that zombie that launches them. I think she's a nurse, so we'll refer to her as a nurse. Now I spawned my stack of zombies just a little bit ahead of my tank. That way, again, like I did before, he starts taking the damage because he was starting to get it a little bit to half. And while I know he's not gonna die, the more and more that my healer heals up my tank, that's the less meds that I'm gonna end up needing at the end to heal him from the damage that he took. Obviously, right? That's just kind of self-explanatory. If the stack of zombies are taking the hits for them, then he's not taking as much damage, and you don't need as much meds to like heal him up. Now, the reason I started trusting my Bravo less and less is because my J, at least for Urban Warfare, is not quite as strong as my 47 because the 47 that I have in the other card, like I said, she's 4 stars. So she'll do more damage as she's like attacking a single character. So she'll end up having more DPS than even this J. And she's also the 4 stars. Once you get a 47 to 3 stars, then she'll start off when she encounters a few group of zombies or even just one single zombie. She'll throw a grenade at her. If she's not the 3 stars, then she'll have to wait until a zombie actually jumps on her. And 1 second, guys, somebody in the stream asked the question: How long have I been playing this game? For almost 2 months, Tricone. And like I did in Last Day on Earth, I did spend a little bit of money just to give me a little bit of an easier time ranking up to the highest rank. I am not a pay to win player. Um, some people would argue against that, but what I consider a pay to win player is somebody who pays to get all the way to the top. I am nowhere near the top spot. I am close to it. I just spend money to give me a little bit of an edge against most people, and I'm still in the top 50, but I still want my skill to determine to actually be able to get me to the top. And that's why I don't consider myself a pay to win player. In my opinion, I haven't won anything just yet. I'm not in the top 10. When you get in the top 10, that's when you kind of win at this game because then you achieve the highest rank, and when you achieve the highest rank, you get the better rewards. Therefore, you actually win the better rewards. Some people argue, well, you're winning against everybody who didn't spend money, and that so like just because I've spent money to be able to compete versus the top players does not mean I don't get to have the same amount of advantage that a player who has been playing here longer than me. Like since I've only been here 2 months, there are characters who have been playing 6 months. Does that mean now they get to have an unfair advantage against me? No, and it's like everybody has a different goal in mind. My goal with this game is to get to the top 10. I could easily spend all the money I wanted to and get there just by buying all the best characters, using the gold, leveling up my all my buildings, all my rooms in my buildings, and getting there quicker. But I've spent 2 months and I'm not there yet. And it was like people would argue, well, then you're bad. No, I'm not bad. I'm just actually taking the time to like level up my character so they give me the best chance to go up against the people in the top 10. If if I don't have characters at a certain amount of level, then my characters are always just going to keep getting beat. And I could spend gold to make my characters get there quicker, but I'm not. That's why I'm not pay to win. I know I went into big like semi long explanation about that, but it kind of like upsets me a bit that people throw that phrase around without really knowing what it means. People don't even know how to analyze what pay to win means in a certain game. The only thing you win here is that you get better rewards. The best rewards are in the top 10. I'm not in the top 10 because I didn't spend the most money to get there instantly. I have the money for it, but I actually do enjoy and appreciate a little bit of a challenge. actually progressing through the game. I just speed myself up a little bit so that I don't have to go through those like annoying and long processes of climbing all the way through like silver and climbing all the way through gold. Even in those levels, I was beating players who had a bunch of units that were higher than me, but just because I was more skilled, I was able to beat them. And even at the rank now, I'm the only player in the top 100 who's rank 8. I'm There's other players who their headquarters are level 10, and therefore they have units who are higher level than mine and therefore better than mine, and I'm able to maintain that even though they have an advantage over me. So that tells you that I'm skilled. If I wasn't skilled, I wouldn't be able to stay up in the top 100. I would get knocked down by all those level 10s who have better units than I do. So that does it for this video. I just mainly wanted to explain what my cars are like, how I set them up to give a little bit of gameplay for Urban Warfare while I actually take down the buildings. It's the only um, type of gameplay that I had not shown in this kind of game. I'll still continue with the stream, but I'm going to end the video there. Thanks for tuning in. If you like what you see, please hit the like button, hit subscribe. I plan on, once I hit level 10, to make more and more videos, because then I will actually have all the information that I need to make more informational videos and be able to compare certain characters to other characters and that sort of thing. I kind of can't do that right now because I don't have all the information available to me since I'm not level 10. I still have about 6 days before I hit level 9. Um, so it's still going to be a while until I still start doing more of those informational videos, but they will be coming soon. In the meantime, I'll just keep releasing gameplay after gameplay in about 2 weeks time. So this headquarters is going to be done in 6 days. That's next Monday. To upgrade this, I think it's going to take me, if we look at this level 10, that took 2 days and 4 hours. This is a level 11 fitness center, so it takes one more than that. So that means that this one is going to take me about like 2 days and 12 hours, so 2 days and a half. And then the actual time that it's going to take me then to put a character and wait for them to level up might be at about like 8 hours, 10 hours. So in all honesty, it's probably going to take about 3 days before I actually have a single character finally at level 24. So all my top characters right now are stuck at level 23. And that's when I'll really start making more and bigger jumps in Urban Warfare. So it'll probably be at least around like a couple weeks before I start doing more videos of sorry, not Urban Warfare, rating. But thanks for watching. See you guys next time in the video.